What is up, YouTube? My name is Eben, and we've got another interesting Forgotten Fridays, and especially interesting one. This is sort of more of a casual fun deck, but this is definitely one you can take and adapt for yourself, and it's based on Goodra, the GUI Regeneration Goodra. It's got 150 base HP, and as often as you like during your turn, you can discard an energy that's attached to it, and heal 60 damage from it. So essentially it has kind of like its own endless supply of Pokemon Center ladies, if you want to look at it that way. And then this one water, one fairy, one anything you want, heavy whip attack, that's 80 damage and a coin toss chance of dealing 40 more. So think of that as an average of 100 damage. So in many ways it kind of 2-hit KOs anything you need, and you can definitely keep it healthy for a long time. And the whole point of this deck is to see just how much and how long we can make Goodra go and how much damage it can take and try to recover it all back and so on and so forth. So you may notice we're only running 3 Goodras. That's because we're running a 4th Goodra that is the Slip Trip Goodra. Now we do run a few tools in our deck, so we're going to have to play this a little carefully, but this is a nice way to shut our opponents down. Basically we drop our tools very quickly and then get this Goodra into play on our bench and use it to kind of impair our opponents, make Megas more difficult for our opponent, etc. As its Slip Trip prevents either player from putting just Pokemon tool cards down from their hand. And it can also hit for 130 damage with its attack, which could be nice. We can use this as kind of a finisher. So to support this, we're running 4 Slagoos, and it doesn't matter which Slagoo or Gumi you run because they are both the same in both their printings. They're the same card. So, and we've also got 4 Gumis. That's right, we're not opting for rare candy today. Like I say, this is kind of an interesting, more of a fun deck, and you're about to see why. Because we're also running Bronzong, and we're counting on Bronzong's metal links to load energies up onto Goodra, just meaningless metal energies essentially, which we can discard to keep healing it back every turn. So we're opting for 3 Bronzong, and of course to go with that, we've got 3 Bronzor. And that's a lot of Pokemon, but we are running one more. We are opting for 1 copy of Aegislash-EX. He's our only EX. Basically, because he works well with Bronzong, and he gives us an alternate attacker and a potential wall of a very different variety because of his Mighty Shield ability. So we are opting for that 1 Aegislash-EX for that reason. Now, on to the rest of the deck. We've got 3 Juniper, or Sycamore, but once again, they haven't officially announced any ban lists yet, so I'm opting for Juniper. And we're running 3 Shaunas. You can also go for Professor Birch's Observation. That's sort of up to you, but I prefer Shauna. We've got 1 Teammates because almost everything in our deck only coughs up 1 prize, and we may have to fodder some Pokemon early game, so this is a perfect way to take advantage of that. And of course, we can Versus Seeker it back in the mid to late game. We've got 2 Pokemon Fan Club. This helps us make sure we got our setup and get all our Bronzors out as soon as we can. We've also opted for 2 copies of Wally. Wally here just makes an evolution happen instantaneously. It's why we're not running rare candy, for one thing. This can instantly make a Bronzong out of nowhere. This can also get us up to Goodra much faster and to that bigger HP amount that we feel a lot more comfortable with. And this can be a very good Versus Seeker target for us, especially in the early game. And finally, we are running 1 Lysander just to kind of get in things our opponent doesn't want active for one reason or another, and potentially to set us up for some KOs, of course. So that 1 Lysander is pretty standard by now. We've opted for 3 Trainer's Mail, mainly so that we can have room for other things. Otherwise, we'd probably be running 4. But I've opted for 3 Trainer's Mail to just kind of get us whatever we need to get the job done. We've got 1 Professor's Letter. This is to help us get access to our water and fairy energy, but we can also just use this to stock up on metal energies as we need. We're running 2 Versus Seekers. Our supporters aren't necessarily super necessary past those first few turns, so we're not opting for a lot of Versus Seekers, but this is enough we can still take advantage of some well-timed utility. The only tools we're running are 3 Hard Charm. This gives our Goodra a lot more staying power, and it doesn't look bad on Aegislash-EX either. This is just to essentially make it very hard for our opponent to one-hit KO it. It has 150 HP, and this essentially gives it 170 HP, if you want to think of it like that. And speaking of which, we're also running 3 Training Center, which gives all Stage 1 and Stage 2 Pokemon an extra 30 HP, which puts Bronzong at a much more comfortable 120, and more importantly, it puts Goodra from 150 to 180, And when you combine that with Hard Charm, essentially Goodra can take up to 200 damage before going down. Or rather, it takes exactly 200 damage or more to take it out, which means it'll almost surely survive any attack so that we can heal it back down with its ability. And that's the whole idea there. We have gone for 2 escape ropes. This can help us switch around when we don't feel like retreating, but remember, those energies we discard to our retreat, we can put back on with Bronzong later. And escape rope, of course, can disrupt our opponent quite a bit too, so that's why we've opted for that over switch. And we do have 1 energy retrieval. This can help us get access to our water and fairy energies, which we can't bring back with Bronzong. So it's a very nice one of. Now, to our energies. Metal energies, obviously, we're running 6 of these, just enough we can keep cycling them back around. We don't need a whole lot of them, because remember, we don't need them for their energy type, we just need them as discard fodder, essentially. We've got 2 fairy energies. These are to make sure that our Goodra can actually attack. And in that same vein, we've got 2 waters. The reason we're running 2 water and 2 fairy is just in case some of them get prized, we still have a better chance of making attacks happen. And speaking of making attacks happen, we also have double dragon energies. We've opted for 3, partly because we can only discard energies 1 at a time to Goodra, so you can't, say, discard a double dragon energy to heal up 120. Rather, this just acts as your fairy and your water simultaneously. That's kind of the idea behind this. But since we can't use it for any other real application in the deck, we're not going for a full-on 4 of here. So that's the deck. Like I say, it's an interesting, fun deck you can play around with. There are probably lots of ways to imagine this Goodra, but I thought this would be... Goodra with Bronzong was a really interesting way to go. So, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, check out my Twitter if you haven't already, link is below, and I will see you next time.